Welcome to Pause for Peace. Glad we have a chance to be together today. And this podcast is being released on January 19th, which means tomorrow is our nation's celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. I hope you know a little bit about him. It's perhaps a bit difficult to imagine a world where everything is separate based on the color of your skin. This is what Martin Luther King Jr. experienced in his lifetime and what he knew was wrong, because he was a preacher, a follower of the way of love, a follower of Jesus the Christ, and he believed that God was about connection and that all is much better than separating out into some. Martin Luther King devoted his life to ensuring that this nation would become a bit more just, because all would be welcomed. Everyone would be able to be a part of the feast of being a part of the United States of America. He fought for the rights of people of color, those like himself who had been told for their lifetimes that they were not enough, that they did not measure up based on the color of their skin. It's really quite evil to separate people out based on the color of their skin, though it happens again and again and again in our world, not just because of the color of our skin, but because of any kind of difference that we perceive is not as good as something else. One of the things I love about Martin Luther King Jr. is that he never gave up on his dream. He believed that God desired for there to be justice, just enough for all, no matter the color of their skin. He gave that infamous speech on the lawn in D.C. in which he said that he had a dream that everybody, any child, his own children, would be able to sit down with any other child and to be welcomed at the table. I wonder what dreams you have for the world. Things are changing as we move forward into 2025. And there may be platforms that are put out there by politicians that perhaps are not platforms that really are of your own inclinations. And so I wonder what dream it is you have for the world. Jesus had a dream for God's shalom, the grand peace and right relationship of all things. He had a dream for things like compassion and healing and abundant provision for all. Jesus had a dream for there to be a leveling where there had been indifferences or there had been separation, one above the other. Jesus had a dream for there to be a leveling, a great way, a reversal even of the ways of the world, for the ways of God to flow, as Martin Luther King said, to just flow like the water flowing down from the mountain, and the beautiful shalom of God coming into being. This healing of all the earth, of any separation, all becoming and being able to see the ways we are fully connected and are one. This is the way that all is made. And yet so often as human beings, we only can see the divisions and the separations. And there are those who will rise up and play upon those fears that come forth and tell us that we are different and separate and that difference is not okay, and try to take advantage of us and breed fear into us because of difference. And yet, as we look at the beauty of creation, what we know is that it's all a grand diversity. In fact, without a grand diversity, things really kind of come crumbling down. And so I wonder today what dream you have for the world. So let's enter into a little bit of quiet, a little bit of stillness, that we might be able to dream dreams. Now, these are not dreams like I often talk about in Pause for Peace that we might have at nighttime when we're sleeping. These are those desires that we have for how things could be. And you might have a dream for the world, like in general, for a world in which all respect this beautiful earth that is all we have to live on and the only place that we know we can be inhabiting. You might have a dream for all the earth to be cared for and reverenced and accepted as the gift that it is. But you also might have a dream for there to be calm in your workplace. Perhaps you live in a chaotic, crazy setting that just immediately puts you on edge, and maybe your dream is for there to be calm amidst you and your coworkers and the work that you do each day. Perhaps you have a dream for your family to be reconciled. Perhaps it's been pulled apart by something, some hurt, some bitterness, some fear, some prejudice that's been taking place. Maybe you have a dream for your family to be reconciled. Only you know what your dream might be, but you may not even know what your dream is yet. And so this is why we can enter into a bit of stillness. So I'm going to invite you to get your feet flat on the ground. And for this one, maybe place your palms down on your knees. And take a few deep breaths from your belly. Allow the air to rise up and be released before you take back in more air in this way, being in this reciprocal relationship with all the earth. Every time we breathe, we are reminded of our connection with all things. Let's just drop a bit deeper in as you continue to breathe. It's helpful to go in through your heart space, deeper into your inward being. This might be an experience where you encounter soul, your own soul. This might be an experience where you encounter the Great Spirit, God living in you. Perhaps as you drop further into yourself, you may see a beautiful pool of water, like a lake opening up for you to be by that place of calm. Perhaps as you drop deeper in, you begin to experience light expanding from somewhere inside. Perhaps as you drop in, your nervous system literally becomes still, and your breath can guide you in that, because every time you breathe out, you can breathe out that which is making you anxious or irritable, and then you can breathe in this beautiful gift of oxygen that can literally calm every cell within. As you sink deeper into your innermost being, we do so with the question, what is my dream? I'm going to invite you to listen for your dream for the world around you, not just a dream for yourself, but what is your dream for the world around you, however you want to define world. You might define world just as that little band of your coworkers or your family or your neighborhood. What is your dream? It might be for all the world, for like global world peace, that's great. But if you can start close in, instead of global world peace, maybe like peace in your neighborhood. What's your dream? Let's listen, notice, receive, hear, whatever might come in the quiet. Maybe your dream is for a gathering spot in your neighborhood so that those who live in homes alongside each other or apartments next to each other might actually have a place to come together, to get to know one another, to talk about challenges taking place in your neighborhood or apartment building, in ways that you might unite to make a neighborhood that is harmonious. If you're hearing or noticing that the desire of your heart is for something big, like that global world peace, or like that all people will know how to love, then continue to listen for how that can become incarnated, become embodied in your immediate circle. So if you want all the world to know, to live according to the ways of love, which are the ways of welcome, which are the ways of generosity. The way of love is the way of grace, the way of deep joy, the way of full inclusion. If you want all the world to live according to the ways of love, how can any of that come to be in your own life, where you set your feet each and every day of your life? So you listen to the deep desire of your heart, the dream that you have. Invite Great Spirit, invite God to show you one step forward in bringing that dream into reality. Keep your breathing going, those deep breaths in and out. That intention that you're in this deep place through your heart space. You're listening inwardly. What is your dream? Your dream for all the world. Before we leave these moments of stillness, I invite you to make some form of inward expression of gratitude. Even if you heard nothing yet, you're still trying. You're still setting that intention to hear. So then you can just pay attention in the rest of your days as you ask God to reveal the dream that you have for the world. It will come. It will be known if you continue to set that as your intention. So expressing some form of gratitude inwardly. Thanking God if that's the way you think about it. Thanking God for allowing you to enter into this time of quiet, to turn inward, to connect with the Great Spirit living in you, and to be able to dream, to listen to the deep desires of your heart, so that the world, starting with your little circle, will be better, will be brighter in the year ahead, will be kinder, will be more gracious with one another because of the dream that you have and that you have heard in this time of quiet. Let's take one more deep breath. Release. And we'll come forth from our time of quiet with the meaning of the word Amen, which is, may it be so. Amen. May it be so. You may open your eyes if you have had them closed. And remember that you have this dream. You might want to write it down because you may not remember it later on. But this dream that you have heard, even if it's just a little glimmer of what you have seen in this time of quiet, in this time of stillness, hold fast to this as your dream, as your hope, your desire for the world and for the little circle of the world that is around you each and every day. This is the way that you can be a person of peace, that you can be inspired by the life of Martin Luther King Jr., and that you can follow in this way, this calling of being a person of love in the world every day. Thanks for joining me this day, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Pause for Peace. And before we go, I want to tell you this beautiful phrase that I have and I keep before me in my bedroom every day, and it says, trust your crazy dreams. See you next week on Pause for Peace. Bye-bye.